and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Wrestling Roundup, your weekly dose of all things wrestling. From backstage drama to epic showdowns, we've got you covered. So let's dive into the ring. I'm your host, Jay, and I'm here with my fellow co-host, Dan.
My man, Jay, how you doing?
Good, how about you?
Good, good. We got a special guest today.
Yes, sir, we do. We have a local legend, and he has been in the wrestling business for the past 30 years. He's performed with BCW, WWE, WCW, and currently you can find him as the NCG Public Relations Coordinator. He is the man who sets the standards, Mr. Mike Legacy.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be here. It's great to see you guys. I know we talked back, I think last November, about myself coming on the show just with scheduling issues and all that stuff, but we made it happen, so I'm happy to be here.
Here we are.
Glad you came. Glad you came.
Go ahead, I'm going to give you the first question.
All right. Let's start her out. Mike Legacy, how did it all start?
How did it all start?
I know I've seen your yearbook and the little ticks underneath saying about how you want to be a wrestler and
Oh, you seen
the
that?
nickname. Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh, you're a
Oh yeah,
journalist.
like we're going back.
You did.
That wasn't yesterday.
You did your homework on me.
I did.
I mean, look, back in the day, you're 10, 12 years old watching. I was a Hulkamaniac back in the day, and George Cannon was running shows in Windsor, and I'd go to those local shows. But I loved, the entertainment aspect of it. And I said, when I get a little bit older and all that stuff, I might be interested. And then there was a show that got put on and in Windsor, and I fell in love with it. And I'm like, you know what, I gotta do it. I think I was like 16 at the time, and George Cannon had a show, and then the next show after that was put on by I think it was Chuck Fader, Scott D'Amore, Doug Chevalier back then, and then I talked to Chuck Fader, and I said, look, I need to get involved, and then he set me up with the people to go to school for the wrestling, and from there it just took off there. So it's been a journey.
So what has been the biggest change from when you started training to how you're watching them train now?
Oh, geez. I could look back at what I did back in the day. I mean, I was telling you guys earlier, Sabu, he recently passed. I was a huge wrestling fan of Sabu. Back when I was wrestling, I was trying to do what Sabu was doing, jumping off chairs, going into the crowd, doing these split-legged moonsaults. I was a huge Sabu mark. So at the end of the day, I just loved the entertainment aspect. I love the physicality of it. We all want to be a tough guy and all that stuff. But obviously wrestling's in a controlled environment there. But it took off from there. So it's with the training I did, the first few months, my first training session, I was at the Border City Wrestling School, and I went through hell through that school. I mean, it's a training process. It's what you hear, those stories, they're true. That people hear online about training. They'll push you to the limits.
Right.
I was throwing up out in the parking lot. That's how bad it was. You got to have good cardio. At the time, I was putting weight on because I was a $168 to start off with. I had to beef up a little bit because back then, bigger was better in professional wrestling.
Oh, for sure.
So I was eating, but at the same time, it's hurting my cardio, and it affected myself in the ring. So you look back then, what I did, I thought I could jump off chairs, do all this dangerous stuff. Now I look at it, and now, the guys that are in it, they're more in it, longevity, right? If you notice, a lot of people don't, like back then, it was the party scene.
Yeah.
After the wrestling, we'd go to the bars, drink, we'd go to the strip clubs. We're living the rock style. Now these guys, they're at home, and, they got family lives, they're playing video games. It's a whole different thing, right? The other biggest thing is the changes, the social media aspect. Back then, we didn't have it, we had pagers, we used to use, and we didn't have Facebook back then. We didn't have the internet, right? So that was been the biggest change in the wrestling from there. And obviously back then, kayfabe was going on, right? So
sure.
At the end of the day, now it's wide open, so.
Everybody knows. Everybody has that inside source. Like, oh, hey, that's Jimmy.
Well, there were dirt sheets back in the day, right? So everyone would get these dirt sheets, whether it be Dave Meltzer, the Pro Wrestling Torch back in the day, or Detroit News had, I think, ML Curley at the time, and people would go and get off the newsstand and find out the latest news around for the wrestling. Now it's just go on your phone and that's it, right? So things have changed quite a bit, for wrestling then.
Yeah, I miss that because it used to be you could go to the corner store. They had all the magazines. Top shelf you weren't supposed to look at when you were 12. But on that middle shelf, you always had either the WWE magazine or Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Yeah.
And what I miss today from then is that they used to have the rankings. And it would tell you who was the top in each federation around the
So
world.
for ourselves back then, as an independent wrestler, you're right. Pro Wrestling Illustrated have the top 500.
Yep.
And when it came out, that issue, I think it was like around September. I can't remember the time the issue was, but we'd all go and figure out, okay, where did I rank? Where did I rank? So yeah, that was back then, how that was going on. But you're right. We'd go to the store and the top shelf, you wouldn't want to,
Yeah. Well, you looked, but you weren't supposed to. But
Right.
that middle shelf, that's where you found the gold. That's,
Yeah.
you got a picture of the Road Warrior staring back at you. That's what you're going to buy.
Yeah.
But it was always great stories in there. You got to never heard nothing about their backstories or anything. This was about the match, but you had that ranking system, so you knew where your favorite guys were.
That's right.
Which I would love to see integrated into what we're doing now, is a ranking system. Who's the top guy?
Across
One
all
through
brands,
10,
too.
Yeah.
men, women, tag teams, everything, and that kept me interested. And it was, look at, you got Junkyard Dog number 5. That's wrong. He's going to be number 2 next month,
Yeah.
and that's what you looked for. And that, to me, that's one of the things that drew me in, was reading that magazine every week.
Yeah.
Like as much as you could get it, you didn't care what it cost. Go out, cut some grasses,
Right.
and off to get your magazine.
So 2 years ago, I sold my whole room of wrestling memorabilia. I had honestly probably about 8 feet stack of magazines back from the early '80s.
Right.
I had all the Coliseum home videos. I sold all that stuff.
Hold on, I'm sorry. This hurts my heart.
I had so much memorabilia. I sold when we moved to our new house because I wasn't allowed to bring it because we were trying to get rid of the stuff that's in storage. But I had a lot of stuff that was just wrestling memorabilia. I kept the stuff that was obviously about myself,
Right.
whether it be programs I was in, wrestling magazines, the top 500, those magazines, stuff that is, for myself there. But the general stuff, yeah, I ended up selling it. But going back earlier on how it all started, there was that one show, Chuck Vader, Scott D'Amore put on, and at that time I didn't care if I was a guy setting up the ring. I didn't care if I was there to do concession stands.
Yep.
I was there to do whatever I wanted to do, just to be involved with it. And they said, well, you know what, we need some extra security. So I showed up doing security that night at the LaSalle Arena at the time,
yes.
right? And I showed up, and they're like, holy crap, look at you. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? I was dressed in a suit, like professional security, like
Yeah.
looking professional. And they were really impressed with that. So I did security for the first couple times, and after that, I went to the wrestling school, paid my dues there. And then, shortly thereafter, I had my first match, and it was a tag team match with me and Scott D'Amore, Mickey Doyle, and Big Luther. It was a tag team match, and that first match I had, D'Amore gave it to me pretty good. It was, basically paying your dues into it. And
Sure.
And then after that, my first match, he called me up later on that night to see if I still wanted to continue, and I did. Look, I retired when I hit the age of 30. Okay, so years down the road, I said if I don't make it the big time by 30, I gotta have something to fall back on. Right. So I gave it to 30 because your body can only take so much. And after 30, I was still involved with wrestling, but special inserts here and there, some special appearances. And it wasn't just Border City Wrestling. I'd branch out to the States as well in Michigan. I had a huge run while working as a wrestler in Michigan, Midwest Territorial Wrestling, Malcolm Monroe's wrestling back in the day.
Okay.
Gary Warnchuk had a promotion out there. So we had a huge run out there as well. And then sooner or later, okay, I got to back off here because my body's taking a beating. What did it for me is when I did a split-legged moonsault onto the outside of the ring, I was working Steve Nixon at the time in Detroit. I didn't get no rotation in my flip. this is one of those things where you look back and it's like I was stupid to do it. It was a new ring. I'd never been in this ring before.
Oh, okay.
The top rope didn't have the same spring as, say, Boulder City's wrestling's ring. I didn't get no rotation my flip, and I went head first right into the concrete. They carried me out on a stretcher. Al Snow in the back change room, he was asking me questions, make sure I'm still conscious. And the ambulance took me to the hospital, and I stayed overnight there and wore a neck brace for 6 months, and that hindered me for a while for doing those high-risk maneuvers. But it was, I don't regret anything,
No.
you know, because when you're at that age, you think you're not going to, you know, break a bone, right? It's just one of those things.
You're invincible.
Yeah.
And then you get the crowd. So do you find, like everyone else does, the crowd, like, you know, you get your energy from the crowd and it makes you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's much more easier to perform with a bigger crowd. I've worked in front of crowds of 15 people, you know. I've worked in front of crowds of thousands of people. At the end of the day, you know, you get your reps in, and you know, you could, if you get enough reps in, you could work in any type of crowd. Obviously, it's easier to work with bigger crowds,
Sure.
Because you get the momentum going, you get them cheering, you get them engaged. But at the end of the day, it's an experience to work in front of any crowd.
So where was your first match, and was it in the LaSalle Arena?
Yeah, it's at the LaSalle Arena. We did a whole host of shows there. That was Boulder City Wrestling's home turf there. So we did a lot of shows there, and then Chicharo Club we did a bunch there. And then we'd do a northern tour. We'd go up to 401 and hit different places there. Where is it? Sault Ste. Marie area, Noelville,
That's a long
Burke
way.
Falls. We did the whole tour. Doug Chevalier lived up there, and then he put us on a tour to go up there. We stayed at his house at the time. But that's it. When you're wrestling back then, you're on the road. And again, it's not like it is today, right? So, because now today they don't have those Saturday morning wrestlings where there's a jobber, right, doing that, right? So enhancement talent, whatever you want to call it, they don't have that anymore. So,
You know, the last couple weeks that they've brought in guys like JC, and they've been feeding guys to Jacob Fatu, and that's the first time in a long time where we actually saw jobbers coming in,
yeah.
taking the pounding, and then a couple weeks later you'll see them in NXT or TNA, or you'll notice that the security guy is actually on. So it's kind of neat to see how they build that up. But where you're talking about the different size of the crowds, what is your take on when COVID hit and you had WrestleMania with nobody in the arena?
Oh, yeah, that's...
How would that be for you to even put on a show?
It's difficult. It's definitely difficult. I'm sure there was a lot of editing that was going on with that there. I don't know if they're throwing in sound to make a background of fans cheering, but I couldn't imagine going through that. But they went through it, and they got through it. And at the end of the day, it's going stronger than ever now, wrestling, right? So,
It is.
I mean, you talk about, you know, enhancement stuff. If I wasn't an enhancement talent, per se, in the ring wrestling, they would always use us locally, whether it be at Joe Louis Arena at the time. I was one of the Undertaker's druids at the time.
Oh, yeah?
No way.
Yeah, and then when Booker T, for example, was the king,
Yep.
I was one of the guys that carried him on my shoulders when he was on the chair there, right?
On the
So
throne, yeah.
yeah, so you know, it was fun doing that stuff, right? So that was the stuff that I was doing after and during my time. You're involved, just don't know where to be involved, but they'll put you somewhere, right? So, I mean, when I was in, I never forget, we talked about Sabu. There was a time, it was in, I don't know if it was Atlanta, Georgia, Macon, Georgia, but when we were doing the WCW run, Sabu was doing a tryout for WCW. They brought him in, and they didn't have a person for him to work with. But we all knew back then Sabu, he was a dangerous guy in terms of the fact what he was doing, putting people through tables on stuff. So it was a whole rib on myself. Scott and the boys put a rib on me saying, oh yeah, Sabu wants to work with you because everything he's seen about you, you're imitating him, that's disrespect. Sabu gets to the arena, and I'm praying that I don't have to work with him because I know what he's going to do to me. And I was a huge mark for Sabu. Now, what I was doing is just more out of respect, and I looked up to him. I can't remember who he worked with. I don't know if it was Chris Canyon or what have you, but I didn't work him that night, but I was so worried I was going to work with him, you know, so, but it was crazy, you know.
It's a setup. So Okay, you wanted to emulate his style. What drew you to him? Like, do you have a similar physique? Is that what?
No, it wasn't even that. He wasn't a big guy back then. I mean, his physique wasn't like myself. It was the stuff, he was doing the crazy stuff. And at that age, I thought, okay, I need to do that so I can get over.
Okay.
All right. And at the time, I was a huge ECW mark. I loved ECW. I was a huge fan of it. And to this day, I still love the fact of watching the old ECW tapes. So he was part of ECW at the time.
Yeah.
And then, and then in Detroit, Michigan, they had some shows that they would bring in a few of the ECW guys, and I'd go to those shows. But no, I was a huge Sabu mark and ECW mark, and it's I loved it. So because he was part of ECW, I loved his style because he did stuff that wasn't the norm, right?
Right.
I mean, Rob Van Dam, he did a lot of the same stuff as Sabu, but Sabu had that whole thing about him. And years down the road, I brought that up to Sabu, and we're just laughing about it. He goes, "You're scared of me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I thought you were going to kick my ass." But and it's just years down the road, right? So, I mean, back then, he kept his character in play, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
but
Go ahead.
So you're a big Hulkamaniac, which everybody was a Hulkamaniac back through the 80s, 90s.
Yes, sir.
They're Hulkamaniac. But other than Hulk Hogan, who was your number one guy as you were trying to get into it? Other than Sabu, trying to emulate him, who was like a top wrestler that you were looking at? Like for me, it was the Road Warriors.
yeah, I mean, the Road Warriors, definitely, they were a huge impact for me to someone to look at, because they were, from whether it be the NWA or WCW, they were working for AWA. They were big boys. I loved their gimmick, and they were on top for the longest time. You wouldn't want to mess with them. Like
In
it was
different
just,
organizations. too,
yeah,
like you
yeah,
mentioned.
yeah. So definitely them. Lex Luger, believe it or not, he's another guy. I looked up to that guy as well. As much as people, say, "Oh, really, Lex Luger?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "There was something about him. When he was called the total package, he was the total package, right?"
right.
So, but he had the look, and at the end of the day, you look back then, that was probably the late '80s when you really get into that. Those guys there, Ric Flair. I love this. Him. I got the promos. I love Ric Flair's promos. Randy the Macho Man Savage, everybody loves him. Ultimate Warrior, of course, everybody loves him. That whole match with Hogan at the Sky Dome at the time,
Yep.
it was unbelievable. I look back where I watched that at. I was at a bar actually in Bell River called the Cooper's Court.
Okay.
And they had it, and it was all back then. It was those big salad dishes people had in their backyards, right? And I remember. You remember where you watched some of these events at the time, right?
I remember.
And I was 12. I was going to Joe Louis Arena, watching those matches with Hogan and Orndorff, and there was one match that Ronnie Garvin and Ric Flair had. Ronnie Garvin, I think he became champion for one day, and the next day they fought, he lost the belt.
Yeah.
So, but those matches there, I love those matches.
Yeah, 'cause
obviously,
you got to see different things.
yeah, absolutely. And I was a huge Jim Cornette fan. I love
really?
Jim Cornette. Yeah, some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth, I just shake my head and
Even to
Even
this
today.
day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
absolutely.
That's right.
They've got some interesting views on things, and Cornette, he stays involved quite a bit still through
Yeah.
YouTube and podcasts and stuff. So it's kind of neat. I'm glad his influence is still there because, like him or hate him,
Yeah.
he was a big influence.
Oh God, yeah,
Going through.
absolutely. Yeah.
Someone
It's
who's
like-
been around that long, too.
So, I mean, when I first started wrestling, it was 94. I started wrestling, 1994. And then 1995, I had the thing with Triple H and WWE.
Yeah.
You got to watch that match.
Yeah.
That match, I've never seen a match start the way it did. And Triple H just slapped the taste right out of his mouth. It was just bam.
So,
You seem
It
excited
was
about
there was a
that.
lot, but that's when Triple H was Hunter
Yeah,
Helmut.
Correct.
He was the Englishman. He did the bow and everything. That was a different Triple H at the time,
It was.
and it was actually commentated by Vince McMahon.
correct, yeah, and Jerry Lawler.
Yeah.
So he came from WCW because I think WCW was Terror Rising.
Yes.
Right?
That's
So he came over. He got freshly in as Hunter Hearst Helmsley doing his gimmick there with the
Yeah.
whole I called it the
sprayer.
The sprayer,
Yeah,
the Rick Martel sprayer type thing.
Yeah.
We're at the Winnipeg Arena, and we're in the back changing room, and earlier in the day, I'm talking with Hunter Triple H, and I'm like, what do you want to do in the match? He's like, I need to think about it a little bit more, because he's trying to get over, because it's a new gimmick for him.
Right.
And I see it now. He wants to make sure everything's perfect. So here you got me going in, my cocky attitude, and I go to Hunter. I'm like, wow, why don't we do this? Tackle, drop down, leapfrog. I'll hip toss you. And he's looking at me like, "Well, you're gonna call the match?" Like,
you have this all wrong.
so at the same time, back then, wrestlers wore this oil on them called hot stuff. Okay, it's for vascularity. We'd spray it on ourselves just before going in the match. And then if you notice in that match against Triple H, he's got that look on his face like, what is that odor? It's like Ben Gay, what have you.
Yeah.
So in that match, we did a reverse neck drop, whatever.
Yep.
We had to redo it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back then, those were tapes for Saturday morning, but they could edit it in the match if there was a redo. So I went down too early on it. You know how people say, okay, on 3 or 3?
Yeah.
Right.
So I went down too early, and then I guess the back, they called to the ref with the headset saying, okay, make him redo it. So only the people at the arena seen the mistake.
Yeah.
I got a buddy that was actually sitting in the arena, and he messaged me after saying, oh, was that a retake? I said, oh, totally, it was a retake. And when he gave me the pedigree, the whole back office in the gorilla position, when I got back, they were worried because that pedigree, it looked like he really went head first in it.
It's like diving into a swimming pool. I'm telling you,
The pedigree,
it's amazing.
Okay, we're gonna put it on our channel.
Yeah.
We'll show it.
Yeah, for sure.
And like most people, there's your pedigree. Boom.
Right.
Right.
Not him.
No.
He was on a 45 when he hit, to the point where I had to stop it and say to my wife, "Watch this."
Yeah.
But, and I don't know from your point of view, but the way he did it, it looked like he was protecting Mike from hurting himself, because he kept him very high.
Yeah.
But just the angle was like, you would have spiked him right through the. He would have found Cactus Jack down there.
Yeah, when I got back, they were all coming up to me. Are you okay? Tony Gurria, I believe at the time, Chief Jay Strongbow came. They all came up to me because they were worried, because the last thing you want to do is have some type of lawsuit on.
Sure.
I mean, we all seen what happened with the Rockers at the time. Someone sued them, right?
Yes, sir.
But no, I was fine. I told him I was fine, and one of those things where I look back on it, I'm like, yeah, that's a highlight reel right there.
Yeah.
Him doing the pedigree.
Yeah, it is quite. It's not a long match. It's not a great match, but it shows you the difference from then till now.
And it's your opportunity.
It's an amazing door.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't even recognize me from back that look I had. I had pink wrestling tights at the time.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you.
Big
what
hair
was with
and
it.
yeah.
It's like you look like a candy striper. It's just it's pink and white and black, and it was first thing I thought was, where did you find those tights? Because it looks like a rodeo clown climbed in with Triple H. But back then, because I've watched your matches of then, I've watched you against Kamala, and then I've watched your BCW. And it looks like there's two different wrestlers there.
Yeah.
Like when you're the jobber, and then there's a whole different guy who's got the entrance theme that comes out, that is cocky, that is fighting against Loverboy, and it's just, here I am.
Correct.
Bam, bam. So it's a whole different persona, which to me is kind of an amazing thing to see, because I remember when jobbers were there. There was SD Jones, there was Steve Lombardi, all these guys that you knew they were getting their ass kicked in the match. That was it. You knew it.
Yeah.
But then this other guy shows up, and he's got theme music, he's got lights, he's coming, and you're thinking, now this guy's got a shot.
Yeah, that's right.
Against who I'm thinking, hopefully you're not going to jobber this guy. And then you start to see all the movesets, and you see, okay, now you've switched roles.
Right.
Which is kind of a neat thing.
Yeah, it's different when you put it like that there, because, if I'm working a local wrestling show, I'm coming out with music and all that stuff, and maybe I'll have a manager and all that stuff. You go there, you're on their turf, and you're just a jobber, and you're there to enhance.
Yes.
That's it, right? But that's where you kind of get those reps in, and you're trying to look for that opening. Maybe they're interested in maybe bringing you in for more TV tapings. I mean, the year before that, we were on tour with WCW, and we stayed at the some buildings just outside of the MGM studios there, and that's where we were doing the TV tapings. But Rhino was with us.
Okay.
Johnny Swinger. Right, so I mean, look at Rhino now, right? I mean, he's done so much in the wrestling business,
TNA Hall of
right?
Fame.
And he was there with us, and it's been amazing. I mean, there's a lot of wrestling stars that came out of Scott D'Amore's umbrella there, right? So, but back then, I love it because who could say they worked with Triple H? Who could say Vince McMahon and Jerry Lawler announced my match?
Right?
And Jerry was Jerry. Like,
Yeah.
I loved the announcing because Jerry, he would comment on what's going on the ring. We don't get that really anymore.
No.
You don't know who they're going for, but Jerry was.
Sponsors.
I completely understand Triple H. I believe what you do is I wouldn't want to touch him either. He's disgusting. Why is he in the ring with you? And it was it was the old commentary coming back where you're thinking, okay, I remember when that was the way wrestling was.
Yeah, every
and
week.
Vince McMahon, he would just plow through. Oh yeah, he had and he said your name, and which I thought was kind of neat. I thought if I was him, I'd be kind of impressed just that Vince McMahon saying my name in the match, and he actually says Mike Legacy more than he says Triple H or Hunter S. Helmsley.
Really?
And I was just listening to what's going on, and it's about 6 times he says, and here's Mike Legacy, this is his debut.
Yeah.
It's like, you really didn't know who the jobbers were back then. But after that match, you knew because he kept saying the name.
Yeah.
And it was a neat thing.
So speaking of the name, did you come up with the name yourself?
That's his
Yes,
name. It's
Mike
on-
Legacy. Yeah, I came up with that.
Is that on
Yeah.
your driver's license?
No, no, definitely not.
Hey.
I just want to know.
No, I mean during that same time period, I wasn't just working as a professional wrestler. I was part of an agency up in Toronto, Silver Screen Agency.
Oh, okay.
And I was doing some extra work in the movies, doing some commercials with that as well. So that kind of, at that time, you're trying to, make your resume as big as possible when it comes to the entertainment side there. So I did a movie called Hostile Tent with Rob Lowe.
Oh.
I did another one with Sean Patrick Flannery. There's another one called Pale Saints. All that went right to DVD or HBO. Yeah.
But do you have copies of them at home?
I do, yes.
As you should.
Don't blink. Don't blink. You might miss it.
As
Yes.
you should.
Yeah. So back then, I mean, it was. I enjoyed wrestling. Then going up to Toronto because that whole Toronto run, doing the stuff for extra movies. That's a long day.
Oh, it is.
There was a movie called Dragon's Lair. Is downtown Toronto, and for like a minute thing in the movie, it took like the whole day. I'm like, they kept on redoing the whole scene. I'm like, oh my god, you're killing me. Like it's just wrestling. There's one take. That's it.
Yeah.
You either
'cause
got it,
when
you don't
you're-
got it.
When you're live, you're live. right?
Exactly.
And
So,
that's the added pressure too. that I
yeah,
find.
exactly. Yeah. So, but a year before that, Triple H, I was with the WCW, and like I said, we're working matches with Kamala. I loved working with Kamala. I did that match with him. It was one of the easiest matches. And such a nice guy. I did a handicap match with Big Van Vader.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then me and another guy, we were in a tag team match against Harlem Heat at the time. So
Been there with a lot. See,
Yeah,
I didn't
'cause-
realize. I was doing my research. Don't get me wrong. I didn't
Yeah.
realize all of this.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of it. Like I thank Scott D'Amore. He
Sure.
put a lot of this together. He was booking the matches. He had the help of I believe Jody Hamilton at the time. They were bookers for WCW there. But no, Scott helped me out along the way, and he's done a great job with what he's done.
Oh, exactly. So when you had those matches, I don't need you to say one's better or worse than the other, but WCW compared to WWE.
Yeah,
What do you think? What are the advantages, disadvantages?
there's pros and cons to both. So WCW, I liked it because when they sent me the check, it was a check from Ted Turner. Like at the top, it Turner Enterprises or whatever it
that's
says.
right.
And so I blew up that check, put it in a nice frame. I still have it to this day.
As you should.
I still have my pay stubs from them. WWF at the time, they paid a portion cash, and then you get a check later on.
Okay.
They both, WWF had the nice catering. I remember going to the first catering at WWF. I met, it was when Cali first came into WWF.
Oh, okay.
It was like a tryout for him or something like that. But the caterings are really nice. But they're both good. You could tell WCW was a little bit more unorganized back then. And I don't know if that's because a lot of the TV tapes we did were at the MGM studios. But I just found, compared to WWF, for the time I was, doing those, it was a little bit more organized for that there.
All right, that makes sense. Like I said, I don't need you to say one's better or worse, but like you said, the pros and cons to both.
Yeah, I mean, it all came down to money too, right? Who pays more? But there, I mean,
Exactly.
back then, they both paid well. I can't complain, so.
No, not at all. Did you have a match? So you've been in the ring with all kinds of different guys. What would be your most memorable match?
Well, I mean, you go back to even my first match. I loved the fact that it was my first match. Whether it's my second match, I love being involved with Irish Mickey Doyle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, he's a legend in himself in the Detroit area there. But locally, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I teamed up with me and Bobby Clancy. We were tag team champions at one time.
Really? What's that you got on your shirt? Oh, I thought that was a stain.
He's a Clancy guy.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize. I thought your shirt was stained. Okay, I see. It
Biggest
says,
little man on the planet.
and it says, I'm a Clancy guy.
So me and Irish Bobby Clancy go way back, right from the beginning. I mean, we've known each other. We've had our ups, or we've had our downs. We've been on the same side. We've been against each other. But at the end of the day, we both have respect for each other.
Right.
His partner back in the day was Otis Apollo. They were Canadian Lightning. I worked with those guys for so many times back then. So
And that was in BCW.
yeah, Border City Wrestling. Yeah, that's where it all started. Border City Wrestling. I mean, it's funny because everyone's like, there's more than one wrestling organization in Windsor now.
Right.
You know what? The arenas are full on both sides. Whether it's whether it be at the St. Clair College, the Border City events, or Maple Leaf
LaSalle
Pro,
Event Center.
or NCG. The fans are there and they're willing to pay. So if they're willing to pay, there's a demand for it. Then good for them. Perfect. It's good. I mean, it's great to be a wrestling fan because you get to see both sides outdo each other, I guess, right? So
Yeah, and we mentioned that a few episodes ago too. We had Joe Hendry show up at WrestleMania. So he's at the LaSalle Event Center April 5th.
correct.
And then 2
Great
weeks
guy.
later.
Great guy.
Yeah, 2 weeks later, I said, can you imagine? You meet him at the LaSalle Event Center.
Yeah.
Now here he is walking out on WrestleMania.
Unbelievable.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like,
unbelievable.
I just saw him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of stuff that NCG is doing, I remember back in the day, Border City Wrestling was doing. I mean, an example would be The Rock.
Okay.
We had The Rock at the LaSalle Arena
Right.
before he was like mainstream. But Joe Henry, to have him a week before WrestleMania is unbelievable, right?
It was.
So, I mean, and then NCG, they keep growing and growing and growing. They're always thinking outside the box. My title with them, if you know my title, it's basically, I like to call it fresh eyes looking through the window. When I sat down about a year ago, I sat down with Michael Joseph of NCG Wrestling, the owner. He told me what his vision was, and I'm like, okay. And then he wanted my knowledge of what I've gone through over the years to help him out. And I'm like, yeah, okay, perfect. Right out the bat, there was mutual respect right there. He's, wants to listen and soak it all up like a sponge.
That's right.
So I like to sit back. I can't be in the ring anymore, but I could still help out in other areas, whether it be help promote the event behind the scenes. My strength, obviously, is the hyping everything up, getting things, thinking outside the box on a lot of stuff. They're doing a lot of stuff right. There's a lot of stuff we could still be doing to tweak things to make it better, but they're on the right path. And we know we're on the right path because the crowds keep getting bigger and bigger. The production that shows is really well.
You can see the upswing as you go to different events.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, our next event's June 28th. We're bringing Al Snow in.
Headstrong,
right?
yes,
Yeah, and we're thinking outside the box because we're out in Leamington this time. We were in LaSalle for the last few shows.
Yes.
We're in Leamington now, so let's think outside the box. There's a lot of people that don't have access to a car to go to Leamington. So what do we have? We have now a bus. It's called the Noble Express.
Yes.
NCG Noble Express. We have a bus that picks them up at St. Clair College, drives them out to Leamington, round trip coming back. right back into Windsor. People can't drive. So we're thinking outside the box because we have a huge following out in Leamington. Huge following, all right? As well as obviously Windsor. But we're trying to accommodate and think outside the box. And then obviously during the summertime, it's hard to attract big crowds in the summer. Reason being, every weekend there's a festival going on around this area.
Summer vacation,
right? Yeah.
or away.
Yeah, so it's going to be a true test over the next few months how the crowds are, because there's a festival this week, there's a festival that week. So we got to think outside the box. Okay, well, let's get a bus. We'll put some people in that don't want to make the car ride out to Leamington, and then we'll put them on a bus, bring them to Leamington, and then round trip right back.
And that bus is going to be hyped too, because because all the wrestling fans, they're excited. You see them online.
Well, as Michael would say, this is bigger than Windsor Public Transit. This is bigger than Lex Express. This is the Noble Express we're doing here, right?
That's
so,
exactly.
But I mean, look, if they fill the bus up, good for them. But it's trying to accommodate everyone, and because everybody likes to see professional wrestling, right? So,
exactly. And the other thing is we've mentioned it before, is the affordability factor. So for the bus ride, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know that it was an affordable price. And we mentioned too with the family pack that you guys offer. So NCG Family Pack, you can't really go to the movies for that price.
Oh, especially in today's world. Absolutely. Going to the movies is so expensive. I mean, the nice thing about professional wrestling, you bring the family there. We all try to get the fans engaged, whether people want to cheer, they want to boo.
Right.
And wrestling, everybody loves the good guy. Everyone could even love the bad guy. But at the end of the day, people leave with smiles. All right. And it's and you talk about wrestling in front of 15 people, or thousands of people. At the end of the day, people are there to be entertained. That's right. And that's what got me hooked, is the entertainment aspect of it there. So, but yeah, June 28th should be a good event. And then we're back in LaSalle in August, right?
Yeah,
so
it's just bang, bang.
So we get and then later on, we got some other big stuff coming down the pipeline. I'll be involved with a few things here and there, but there's a few things that we're going to be doing that nobody else has, and I can't really release that right now.
Oh, that's fine.
But
you let us know, and we'll let.
I mean, this is the first time we've got a bus, right? Mm-hmm. But there's other stuff that's coming around fall that we're going to be doing stuff that no one else has, and it's going to be a big surprise for everyone. And it's going to be a wow factor. And I believe they got live streaming going on as well.
Yes, with the Windsor Essex.
Correct, yeah. So that's going to be a huge, as more and more people. Yeah, I mean, I got friends that are in the States, right? They don't have access to come over here, and they want to watch the event. Boom, now we have live streaming now, right? So once you start live streaming, that helps out huge, right? And then obviously with that helps, with advertising, sponsorships, everything there. So so we've grown quite a bit since day one. And the guys are doing it really well. Myself, I'm helping with them. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting back, saying, okay, maybe this works, maybe that don't work. I tell them, okay, this doesn't work. Let's try something here.
Right.
But there's a lot of stuff we're doing right, and there's a few things we got to still tweak. But we're on the right path for it there. So. And
they're open to your ideas, and they're receptive, and I mean that makes a difference too.
Yeah, because they a lot of these guys watched me growing up.
Right.
That's the thing, right? So they have that respect there, saying, okay, well, it's too bad he can't wrestle anymore, but we still want your knowledge on how to promote shows and all that stuff. Back when I was with Scott Demore's group, Border City Wrestling, I was selling tickets.
Okay.
Right, and it was being made whether I sell 30 tickets, 50 tickets, and I'd sell advertising at the same time. So they're like, okay, how can we do this? And you got to understand, back then we had no social media, right? So now, I mean, heck, just by picking up your phone, there's social media, there's everything on there. So it makes it a walk through the park sometimes to come up with some ideas that we didn't have back when I was wrestling. So, but they'll take the ideas I had in the past and we'll see what works. And because at the end of the day, getting your name out there, whether it be NCG or Maple Leaf Pro or whatever wrestling organization, it's just getting the name out there. I mean, that's the biggest thing. This podcast here, I mean, I wanted to come back. I think it was back in November we brought it up that I'd come on this podcast, sir. And then, but again, scheduling issues, and but I'm like, you know what, let's do it because there's we gotta get elevate the NCG, my part in it as well. But I told you guys I would do your show, and I kept putting it off, and I apologize for that. Because at the end of the day, I should have been out here a lot sooner doing this. So,
Do you accept his apology?
Well, let's put it this way. If I was out here months ago, the ratings would have went up a lot more sooner.
Oh, wow.
So-
yes.
Well, we'll see how that works out because
Got a point.
our top rating is the man, the myth, the icon, Bobby Clancy.
Oh, okay.
Twice.
All right.
Twice.
Are you looking at
It was-
camera
it was
5 so that they can see?
Double your pleasure.
Really?
So we'll see how this one goes. Now, I know you and Bobby spent a lot of time together doing wrestling and everything, and I can see NCG saying, come on, let's grab him. He's got the knowledge. You know, he hung out with Bobby for so long. The innovator is Bobby. The architect is Bobby. So you're getting all that information, but you've got a guy who worked alongside of him who saw the exact same things. And I find that to be kind of a neat thing is you've got two guys who went through the same basic thing, but they have different stories.
Right.
So, and yes, I am a
My
fan.
perspective on things may be different than Bobby's.
Sure.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure there are a few things there, but at the end of the day, again, we have respect for each other.
Right.
On that, there, I mean, there was a lot of heat between me and Bobby for years,
really?
just
Okay.
because of stuff that happened behind the scenes. There was one time Al Snow had a show in Lima, Ohio, and he booked me on the show. And him and Otis Apollo were supposed to pick me up at the McDonald's on Huron Line, and it was like my third match. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll drive you. Just meet us at McDonald's on Huron Line. We'll pick you up at 1:00 in the afternoon. It's a couple-hour drive to Lima, Ohio." I'm like, "Okay." They ghosted me. And then Al Snow flipped out, and he's like, he called Scott DeMorp and said, "What are you doing? You have a student that doesn't want to show up on one of my shows?" And then it got back to the fact that Otis Apollo, Bobby Clancy just left without me. And to this day, we joke about it because it's years later.
Right.
But you know, it's with the hazing or whatever to the new guy. When I first met Bobby Clancy and Otis Apollo, it was at Reflex Fitness Gym on Tuscarora.
Oh, yeah.
On downtown Windsor. I was working there, and they walked in, and I'm like, "Who are these guys?" And I'm like, "Okay, they're wrestlers." And then that's another thing. That's a whole other story on how I met them at the gym and all that stuff. But and at the time, they were working at the casino,
Okay.
and I just remember them telling everybody at the casino they were gonna go to WWE and all that stuff. They're gonna have dark matches and all that stuff, and so it was quite the stories back then. Anyway, what was the question again? I think it was the fact that we're gonna raise the standards of the show a little bit after today.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That's what it was. I thought it was a height thing.
Well, the height thing's Bobby Clancy, right? I mean, we call him the Keebler Elf, right?
Oh,
we don't call him
there's
that.
no we.
No.
yeah.
Client, what do you call him?
No. Bobby's my man. He's the biggest little man on the planet. That's the way it is. He's the architect. He's the innovator of NCG. Everything that I see Bobby doing is right on point. It's phenomenal. Now, I think there's guys like yourself that can come in and you have a different perspective. So you may think that this is not going to work the way that he wants to. I think that's great. It's that you're seeing the backstage
Dynamic.
of what goes into this because we've seen what goes in. It's an amazing thing to see the backstory of these guys like Zico, like Soul Taker, like the Congregation. You know, they're phenomenal. These guys are top athletes who, at a moment's notice, can not only pull off one hell of a show, but protect the other guy at the same time, which is something we didn't think about as kids.
No.
As I'll suplex you right off the roof. I don't care.
DDT.
If you don't land right,
DDT in the school year.
DDT.
Correct. Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
Look at some of those guys, but I think that you will bring a lot of good stuff to NCG.
I hope so. Yeah.
I think one of the best things at NCG is that the Wrestling Roundup goes to all the shows. So they
One
get
or
to
the
meet
other.
me.
Oh, yeah.
Jay's around.
Sometimes.
It's great.
Have you signed any autographs yet?
I have.
Oh, have you? Oh, okay. All right, good. Maybe I'll try. I
Yeah,
got
I mean-
autographs from you earlier. I saw.
I signed the autograph with your Sharpie, so
Oh, is that what it
yeah.
was? Okay.
So it's kind of like you did it too.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, you go back to a year ago when I sat down with Michael Joseph from NCG. They wanted to bring me in as a wrestler. At the time, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not 20 years old anymore, but I still maybe could be involved. Then we came up with a plan because at the time we said, okay, let's hold off and we'll figure something out. And at the time, City Councilor Kira McKinsey was involved.
Yes, Karen got into it. Yeah.
So They came up with the plan of me teaming up with Kieran, being on his side for that February show.
Yeah, February 22nd.
And then Kieran, he couldn't keep it to the win there, so we took the L on that one.
So with that, my
Yes.
thought was it just you didn't want to be on the winning side, or was there a reason that you would go against the team of Bobby Clancy and the monstrosities that he was bringing in?
Yeah, but he left them on here online at the McDonald's.
Right, me and City Councilor
just
Kieran
asking.
McKenzie, we go way back as well. We used to work together, me and Kieran McKenzie. He was a bartender and I was a bouncer at the one club we were at, that one bar. And this is years ago. So I've known him for years. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take his side. I'm going to be on his side. And I thought, this is amazing. First time ever, City Councilor steps into the ring.
Yeah.
Right, and it was great to have it. It was great publicity. It was something that Kieran wanted to do, because back in the day, we all wanted to grow up and be wrestlers, right?
We did.
He got to fulfill his dream, and I think to this day he still wants to be involved somehow. And we might have something for him later this year for him to help out with the show or be involved some way or another. But that was something for me I wanted to be involved with, because I'm like, okay, this makes sense. I'm gonna. Because Bobby Clancy was on the opposite side. I'm going to match up because I've been in wrestling before. Kieran McKenzie, okay, it makes sense because, it's a childhood dream of his to step in the ring.
That's right.
Let me be involved with this. So it was great. We're the main event. It was good.
Yeah, you're for Team Clancy.
Yeah,
Team Clancy versus
I had
Team
a lot of
Clancy.
friends and family there as well, because everybody was worried I was going to get hurt. But again, we're in a controlled environment, and it has to make sense. And I told Mike from the get-go, anything I do, it's got to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, I don't have that passion to do it. But we'll see what happens come this fall. But there's a lot of stuff that's going to come down, and it's going to be a wow factor.
What was it like with the training for Kieran McKenzie? Because I know you had to do some training.
Yeah, I mean,
with him, did he pick it up quickly?
We don't have a warehouse to work out of, right? So we had to think outside the box.
Right.
And Michael had some friends, cousins that have greenhouses out in the Leamington area. We set up a ring in a greenhouse.
Okay, I saw the video on YouTube.
Secluded
That's
area.
where you were?
Yep, they put us in a greenhouse. It was a secured area. At the end of the day, it was we went and trained there. I mean, we would have if it was summertime, they could set the ring up in someone's backyard. We would have trained.
Right.
At the end of the day, we needed to do something because Kieran's never been in a wrestling ring before. And the last thing you want to see on the media is City Councilor gets hurt in a wrestling ring.
Right.
Right? So
You wanted to see him. He wanted to see him get hurt.
That's the first thing I wanted to see in the headlines.
I didn't want to see that.
So I know with talks behind closed doors, we're like, okay, well, if we're doing this, let's make sure everyone's safe to begin with. It's got to make sense. As crazy as it is having a city councilor come in, whether you want to call it a gimmick match or what have you, it drew some attention with the media, it drew attention with people that just want to see Kieran in the ring.
Yeah.
So it was something different. I mean, it's no different than WWE pulling in someone that isn't even from the wrestling world to come in. It's no different.
No, Logan Paul was much better than Karen was.
Well, the one
But
thing.
he trained though. He's
Yeah,
an
well,
athlete.
the one thing
I know
Kieran.
you're
Kieran,
saying.
he could have went to the tanning booth, Kieran, because those legs were quite pale.
A little bit, but he did well.
I actually was not too impressed with you guys. There was you, Beast Man, and then you guys brought Gilligan with you. Like, what was with the outfit? He looked like he was a reject from Gilligan's Island that went on to the Jaws set, and then came, and it looked like one of the 80-year-old women that was standing there in their bathing suit. I was like, what is going on here?
Michael Coulson.
And then he slaps on the Rick Steiner headgear, and it's not working, dude.
Kieran did a good job, though. I was very impressed.
For being a counselor,
yeah,
he did very, because he could walk after. I was quite impressed with that.
I was impressed, too,
Yeah.
because he did more than I thought he would. To tell you the truth.
He had more ring time than I thought he was going to.
Yeah, we look back on that. We're like, he did have a lot of ring time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was. We'll see what happens in the future because I know he still wants to be involved, one way or another. I'm sure you haven't seen the last of him.
No,
But,
you'll see him here. He's going to be coming here.
Is he coming here?
He's going to be coming
Yeah,
here.
okay.
He wants on the show
All right.
because he hasn't had enough of the verbal abuse yet. He wants to come on the show and
He
get it
wants to be
firsthand.
verbally abused in person.
I'm just hoping he wears that outfit.
Yeah, I mean, we were in talks back the last show, the Olympian wrestler, the one girl,
Oh,
Linda. We brought her to the show.
April 5th.
Yeah. Unfortunately, nothing panned out from that. But we have a few things coming down the pipeline that will be a wow factor. And we want to be a company that is stuff that is the first to do. Right? So at the end of the day, if we can make that happen and draw some attention, then perfect, So again, we'll see what happens come this fall, but you'll be seeing more of me, I guess, come fall.
So I got a question about your time in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I have heard this and I don't know because I've never been in the ring.
Okay, clear it up.
So it is going from independent to WWE, WWF then, to WCW. A lot of what the newer stars are saying is that when they go to a new place, it takes a while to get used to the ring because they're different sizes.
Yeah.
So where it may take you 12 steps to get across the ring in WWE, it might be 14 steps if you went to, say, TNA.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious about
Well,
that.
the WCW ring, if you watch that match in the MGM studios where I worked with Harlem Heat, the ring was small.
And it was on a...
It was on a thing that went round and round, right? WWE, it was a lot bigger, and then it was harder when you fell too, when you took a bump. So it was different rings, but in the day while you're wrestling, you don't feel it because you got 10,000 people you're wrestling to, right? So, but the stuff with WWE is all enhancement matches. That's all it was. WCW, same thing. Again, that goes all to Scott Demore setting that up. He did a lot for my career. Irish Mickey Doyle as well. So those guys, they're great.
And Irish Bobby Clancy.
Irish Bobby Clancy, he was there with us. Yes, he was there with us. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
No, I was just wondering,
is that what you're going to say?
I know that you would pace yourself, like you watch guys, and you can tell that they know it's going to take me 6 strides to hit that rope.
Correct. Yeah.
Where if it's say they went to an independent like OVW, that different pace. So you're trying to pace yourself so that everything looks so smooth, everything looks so good.
Don't get winded.
And if you forget where you are, you could be a half a step off, and all of a sudden now you look silly coming off. And that's what I'm noticing now, is people coming from TNA, they're throwing them on the WWE,
Right.
and you can tell that their steps are just off a little bit. They're just, it's that much. So I just wonder if there was a big difference that you found when you were going ring to ring to ring.
Yeah,
You have to get used to that.
But if you're there earlier enough in the day, you jump in the ring and work with it, right? So you practice there. But I never had any issues. The only issue I had was doing that split-legged moonsault in a wrestling ring because the cable of the ring was looser than what it should and didn't give me any reflex to go back and didn't get the rotation, head first right in the concrete. And I think I had about a $10,000 hospital bill. It was, and then I didn't go after, but Gary Warrenchuk at the time said, "Don't worry, I'll cover the bills." And then he pulled back on that, and I was stuck with it. And then obviously I'm out of country; I don't have benefits.
Right.
So, but we ended up splitting the bills on that. It was, I thought it was the end of my life because I'm wearing a neck brace for 6 months.
Yeah.
Right. And then after that, you don't want to do the same stuff in wrestling because you don't want to re-injure yourself, right? So,
and the possibility is always there too.
yeah, all those wrestling matches. I got all my wrestling matches still on VHS or digital 8. One of these days, I'll get them converted to digital 100%. But it's crazy some of the stuff. There's a lot of wrestling matches I had in bingo halls.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. In this Detroit, it was just you'd be having myself. I don't know if you guys know Jeff Kavanaugh or Scotty Libido.
Yep.
It'd be me, him, Tommy Wonder. We'd all go wrestle in the States each weekend. And Chris Peelon at the time, he was part of Borders Wrestling in the early years. Clancy, Otis Apollo, Larry Destiny, so we'd all wrestle in the States. Wrestling was huge in the States in the 90s, and we were wrestling every weekend. If it wasn't in Detroit, maybe it was Ohio. Maybe it was Kalamazoo.
You do that little loop.
Oh yeah, so and to this day they still do a lot of shows in Michigan.
Oh yeah.
So you can see Raw in Kalamazoo or the Van Andel Arena in Grand Rapids.
And if you were to ask me the differences from the shows in Windsor compared to the shows in Michigan, well, the shows in Windsor totally outdo the wrestling independent scene in Michigan.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's, again, we go back to Scott D'Amore. He wants to make sure the show from top to bottom is done perfectly. It's his name on it. There's too many wrestling promoters that want to be promoters, that want to just put shows on that don't have the production value. So again, it's got to make sense. But in Windsor, we have a great wrestling community.
Definitely.
We have 2 shows running, and there, Scott had a great success at the St. Clair College.
Yes.
We're having success on our end at whether it be in Leamington or LaSalle. So it's good for a wrestling fan these days in Windsor.
It is, and to have it again right in your backyard, because maybe some people don't feel comfortable traveling to the States, or like you said before, they don't have the vehicle to get them to Michigan to see.
Yeah. I mean, look, you got wrestling fans that may not know, Al Snow like I do, right? Because obviously some of the younger generation, Al Snow was more of a trainer, maybe at, Tough Enough or something like that. They weren't. Myself, as a memory, is that he helped me, and I looked up to Al, stand-up guy.
Yeah.
But I still remember when I got carried out on that stretcher, Al came right up to me and asked how I was. He says, "Let me touch your feet, see if you got feeling to it," because he thought I was paralyzed from the waist down.
Right.
Right. So it's stuff like that. I mean, you got people like Joe Henry when we brought him in. People want to see him, and then if it's not Joe Henry, maybe it's somebody on the Maple Leaf Pro. Somebody maybe wants to see someone from there. So.
Exactly.
It's great to be a wrestling fan in Windsor, and we look forward to see what happens in the future here.
Definitely.
So is that an option for you, is to bring someone that's been in Maple Leaf Pro over?
Yeah, look, NCG is open to anyone working. It's just whether they want to come work for a competitor.
Sure.
It's no different than, AEW or WWE, right? I mean, at the end of the day, there's 2 shows. Which one you want to be on? I mean, we're open with anyone to come out on our show. Just matter if they want to, right? If they think it may affect them with the other show, then okay, fair enough. Out of respect, yeah, that's fine. So, but to me, I think there's enough fan base to support 2. We've proven that. There's enough workers out there that could do 2, and these workers that we've talked to for NCG, they want more reps in as well. So if they can't work for MLP because Scott D'Amore's got his own group of workers he's got, then come work for us.
Yeah.
We're open to that. I mean, you look at some of the roster we have. I mean, geez, we have a great roster.
So many.
It is.
Red is on the way.
Yeah.
With Tessa Blanchard as your champion.
Oh, Tessa Blanchard. I mean,
Dynasty,
yeah,
everybody.
absolutely.
Well, Dynasty, you've got the Congregation, you got Zico, you got Jesse V, that if you weren't from around here watching it, you wouldn't have a clue who they are. Giant Orion,
APK.
Jack Talos.
They're all there.
Oh, yeah. Just watching them, Chantal.
Yeah.
So I find it very interesting to go to those shows because now you're invested into them like I was in the 70s and 80s with the magazines. As you want to know more about that character, that person, you're invested now. So now you either love them or there's some that you just hate. But you don't hate them because they suck as a wrestler.
No.
You hate them because they suck as a character.
Yeah, they're doing their job.
Yeah, and you get to see the evolution of them, which has just been amazing to see the evolution of the Congregation.
Exactly.
To watch Giant Ryan, he just exploding.
Yeah.
Zico, to go from a guy that I thought, I don't even know who that guy is over there,
Right.
wearing the funny pants, to now, when you think NCG, to me, that's the face of NCG right there.
Yeah.
Right.
He is just such a nice guy.
Oh, God.
And he's a brick shit house.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing to see that people can actually get that big.
Right.
Jesse V, super nice guy. He's like a tank with a head on it.
Yeah.
He's just amazing. But the skill and the moveset that they can pull off for being big men is amazing too.
And the access, again,
Yeah.
because you can go to NCG, you can go to the merchandise table and buy a T-shirt from the actual performer.
Yeah.
And you can't do
And
that
you
if
can go
to
get
a
them
WWE show.
signed.
Oh, yeah? Oh, is
You
that
can
what
get
that
them
says?
signed.
Okay.
That is a huge part of this NCG is you get the behind the scenes. You get to be before and after.
Right.
You get to see not only that these are human beings, but that these monsters will take the time to have a conversation with you. They want to know from you as much as you want to know from them. and they're going to sign your merchandise for you.
Okay.
And boom, boom, boom. There you go.
Is there anything that you taught one of the performers that you want to share
That
with
I
us?
taught them?
Yeah. So a little bit of wisdom that you gave somebody.
I try not to.
Oh, okay.
Because I got to keep it all.
Okay.
I got to keep it all. That's part of the show.
Give it away for free?
I
Okay,
did
fair enough. I
teach
got
a couple of them that my partner isn't somebody that you really want to have the interviews with.
Mm-hmm.
You want to come on over. So, as I said,
Sorry, I can't.
you got Mr. Legacy,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
who's great, and then you have I'm awesome.
Oh, okay.
That's just the way it
You might
is.
be awesome, but I'm the halo of perfection. I'm the man who sets the standards.
I'm the man who named the giant Orion fall from Olympus.
Okay. Did you tell him that?
Oh yeah, I told him.
Oh, you told him what it was called? now?
Now I just have to work on Sanjay. Sanjay will start saying it. It's going to be a household thing.
Okay.
It's funny you bring up Sanjay's name, right? I mean, there's another thing. We have a great
Phenomenal guy.
phenomenal broadcast team. Drake
Yes.
Damar, Sanjay, like amazing. Like those guys do a really, really great job. Again,
Because they are fans, too.
oh
Yeah.
my
So
God,
that's what you
absolutely,
get.
Sanjay. He's a total fan, absolutely. And
Nice
you know,
guy, too.
I've known Drake for a long time. I know his dad. He's Scott Damar's cousin. I mean, at the end of the day, they do a great job. But again, everyone involved with NCG, look. When you put a new product out, there's going to be a lot of haters out there. We've been doing this for a year now, NCG, and there's going to be a lot of haters out there. But at the end of the day, you know, are we going to make mistakes? Absolutely.
Sure.
But I remember back when we started wrestling at the LaSalle Arena, I look back on some of the stuff we did. I mean, geez, that'd be like taboo to do something like that in today's world, right? So it's growing pains, right? And, you know, you try it out. If it don't work, okay, let's try something different.
As
But
long
what
as
I...
you're willing to keep working at it.
Yeah, as long as we're going in the right
Success.
direction, and I think we are, we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, you know, and it's working. All right. So again, are we a little bit more maybe edgier and not traditional wrestling promotion? Maybe. But at the end of the day, if we're different, I guess it separates ourselves from the average wrestling promotion.
Different is good. Is there any places that you would like to have a show, host a show, or you know, are you still looking for places, or are you set with the LaSalle Event Center, the Leamington? I know it is the Shirk Center, but I can't remember the I can't remember the name of the building right now that you're
Yeah,
going
so
to.
I actually wrestled in that arena. I don't know how many years ago before it was even called that, whatever the name was before. And it
the
was,
Shirk Center.
yeah, I think it was me working against Johnny Swinger. We're in a tag team match or something like that back in the day.
Really?
But that's when I go there on June 28th. It's going to bring back memories for me
I believe
on that
it.
there. But is there a place where I'd like to see it? Yeah, there's a few places, you know, where maybe we want to have a show at. You know, I mean, there's an idea maybe of, you know, would it be the Windsor Casino there,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
Oh, the Coliseum.
the Coliseum.
Right.
There's an option there. That is down the pipeline, maybe down the road. It's got to make sense, though. We're not there yet, right? And then they're picky on who comes into their territory as well, right?
Exactly. We have the Libro Center in Amherstburg too.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know a couple guys that live in Amherstburg, so they.
Yeah,
close to
so
home.
there's a few places we want to go to. I mean, outside of Windsor, if we move up the 401, but I mean, we're talking about maybe starting something in Michigan.
Oh really? Okay.
Well, because we bring a lot of the Americans come in to wrestle, and maybe we go over under their side too, right? So it might be an option. I mean,
Like you
Soul
said,
Taker.
it's
You guys all know who Soul Taker is.
Yeah,
Well, he's
Nate-
from Detroit, right?
Nate Matson, he's
Nate,
from that area
same
too.
thing. So if we have an NCG first time ever in Detroit, Michigan, yeah, that might go over as well.
I would be there.
So
You got
One thing-
Zico.
Yeah.
Zico, same thing.
Hell.
Yeah, he's right there. We
Right.
have a lot of different.
You got oh yeah, there's a lot of talent that's in this
Congregation.
local area,
There is, yeah.
and we've been all local. That's why I love NCG is because it promotes the local. It brings in guys that are not too far away, but it keeps them going. It keeps the fans into it,
Right.
and it's what we want to see is. We want to be there.
Yeah.
You want to be there in person. You don't want to be watching on TV. It's a great thing that they've come out with the streaming.
Yeah.
But it's live. That's what you need is live. Or do you want to go and watch the Blue Jays play on TV, or do you want to go and watch them at Skydome? You want to go watch them at Skydome.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Detroit,
talking about
same
Skydome,
thing.
too.
Is jump across
Yeah, 'cause
It's only a little
not
river
that
between
far.
us. You just jump right across.
Yeah, I mean, back when
Makes
I was with
sense.
Border City Wrestling, we did a riverfront one, a wrestling match. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was on the show. Arn Anderson was on the show. We did it right at the riverfront, the first time ever. It's risky doing those shows. I don't really like those type of shows because
Especially with the weather.
the weather, it's all weather related. And then it's just it's got to be the proper setup, all that stuff. The festival shows, I'm not a big fan of those, but I understand why we have to do them.
Right.
It still gets out in the community. It's just the indoor arenas are probably the best for a wrestling match, but we're open to anything. I mean, if it makes sense, we'll do it for it there. We don't care if it's Chatham, London, wherever. If we have access to do it, I mean, Chatham might be the next place we go.
Okay.
Right?
yeah,
Because I
yeah.
used to wrestle there, and Chatham's a huge wrestling town as well.
Really?
So, but again, we're open to anything, and we always tell the fans out there if they have any ideas, shoot them our way. You know,
Okay.
my position for NCG is basically I'm fresh eyes looking through the window.
Yeah, consumer relations.
Yeah, because sometimes maybe
Community side.
if you're too involved, you're going to have the blinders on. Myself, I'm looking through fresh eyes. If I see something, and I'll shoot something off to Mike, and he'll tell me, "Yeah, let's go with it, or let's meet on this. We'll
Right.
do it." Right? Oh, that for marketing. Okay, yeah, let's do that. It makes sense, right? So, Al Snow's coming in a few weeks. We're gonna have fun with that night, and we'll have really fun with him. He's a great guy, and we'll get the fans engaged. And again, I've known Al for years. I haven't seen him in a long time, but it'll be nice to see him again.
And I haven't seen him. I haven't met him. Well, I did. I met him once at WrestleMania 18, so that was way
Okay.
back.
I mean,
he's not going to remember.
He
me,
probably
so,
doesn't recognize you anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look a little different.
yeah. So I mean, him and his tag team partner at the time, he was part of the Fabulous Kangaroos back in the day with Danny Cass.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but Al Snow, I mean, great guy. You'll learn a lot from Al Snow.
Yeah, and he still has Ohio Valley Wrestling. He has the show The Wrestlers on Netflix.
Yeah, and we're doing a clinic earlier in the day with Al, with people that want to wrestle, all that stuff. He's putting a clinic on, which is great. But otherwise, yeah, we'll have a good time on June 28th.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and okay, that's my question really quickly. So I missed the April 5th show. I may have to miss June 28th. Can we set up a schedule maybe
Already
off
missed.
air? We can figure something out so you can have a show when I can attend.
Absolutely.
Is that something?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're gonna go by your
Okay.
schedule.
Well, we'll see. We'll talk
So you
about
can't
it off
make
air.
it. You weren't.
I don't think I can make it the 28th. I'm not sure yet.
But like I said,
Yeah,
We'll be there.
I can stream. I can stream it if that's possible.
there's a stream. It's a river right down. It's called Detroit
we're
River.
gonna talk. We're gonna talk off air.
we'll work through it.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure out some stuff, but it's going to be phenomenal. Like you got the Giant,
We got a casket match.
Yeah, for the first time.
Yeah,
first
first
time
ever.
NCG
The Soul
casket
Taker.
match
Right.
that is going to be quite the match.
for the title too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got Al Snow, and his partner is Jesse V.
Right.
It's going to be unbelievable.
I know. We have
Zico is
code
going to be
posted.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dynasty.
Jody Threat from TNA.
Yeah.
she's going to be there too.
Yeah.
Everybody. I know. I don't know the whole card, but I know Trey Miguel is going to be there.
Yeah.
Fresh Air is going to be there against Dynasty.
The Lionheart
So
and the Takedown.
It's a stacked night for
Yeah.
June 28th.
It is.
It's-
I couldn't believe the card.
Yeah.
And it was just, I guess, because we followed it so much. It's just you're invested in them, but it was amazing to see how many of them will be there.
yeah, and to watch it build too, because
Yeah,
you go
correct.
with the first couple of announcements. Oh, we have Headstrong. It's going to be
Yeah.
Al Snow,
So-
and then you watch it build.
And we've built so much, and Jay and I have the same goal. We've been pushing. There's one that makes it through to WrestleMania
Yep.
is going to be Alice Lane.
Yep.
She's the best referee we've seen. We weren't too thrilled with Beastman smashing into her. That was not cool.
Not really.
But watch her all the time on TNA. She's making her way up there. She's been on the show. She's an absolute, what we call the best referee in the world. And we would not be surprised within a year or two to see her at WrestleMania.
So backstory on her. I just met her
we go.
recently with the Keira McKenzie match I was in.
Yes, that's
She
what I
wrecked our
met
match.
her.
And look, when I came in a year ago, I didn't know any of these guys 'cause I haven't followed wrestling like I do now.
Yeah.
But she was a ref, and I just thought she's just a local ref. But her knowledge was unbelievable. You can ask her this. She'll tell you that I talked to her after the match, and I told her, I said, you did a phenomenal job. I said, you surprised me. She said something to me in the ring. There was a point in the match where I was patting Kieran McKenzie on the back or something like that, or Beastman on the back, and she came over. She goes, okay, don't do that because now it could be a tag, right? And I'm like, oh, she's right. So she was smart to pick up on that, right? So I gave her credit on that, and if you notice, she's getting the reps in right now on all the independents, and she's done a phenomenal job, and I totally agree with what you said. Her career is going to be shining down the road for sure.
Oh, yeah. And she's the only ref I know of who's been on the Wrestling Roundup who also is coming out with her own merch line.
Oh,
Yes.
It's amazing. She's got her own cards. She's going to be having shirts. Jay made her a sign. It was a great time because that's a person that we quickly got invested into. It was just something that, you knew Danny Davis and them, but it's not the same as Alice Lane. She's on a journey. We're on a journey. You guys are on a journey, and we're extremely impressed on the journey you guys on how quickly you've grown. So you're welcome on that, and we're growing with you, and that's what we say all the time with Bobby. I'll talk to Bobby Clancy, and we're all growing together. We're on the same ride.
And if I were to ask you guys, because you guys have the wrestling podcast, what do you need from organizations such as NCG to help you guys along to grow your part?
We need to have ourselves out there at the events, doing interviews, doing our own basic podcast live from there, saying, here we are, here, such as, you give me Al Snow, I may pass out. The guy,
I'll take over if you
he's been
pass
an
out.
idol of mine, you won't even be there. He's been an idol of mine since the late 80s. When he first started coming out, just yelling, what does everybody want? And he had the little mannequin head.
Yeah.
It was something that back then nobody really said that stuff, and we screamed it, and we were young.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were talking about, but it was an amazing gimmick that he had. And to hear how many of the younger wrestlers coming up that he's helped along
Totally. Yeah.
with OVW,
Yeah.
the referees, the time that he spent with our friend Alice Lane, stuff like that. And to see now he's willing to come here and be among what I consider our people is this area. We're local. We're going to have one of the biggest stars that, as far as I'm concerned, Al Snow, for me, was as big as the Junkyard Dog was, as SD Jones.
Yeah, he had something different to offer.
And I thought he was phenomenal. So to see him, what we need our name out there. We need this radio station out there. We need the listeners, and we need people on the podcast. That's what we need. And NCG has been just
More than
unbelievable
accommodating.
with giving us.
I mean,
the
off air, I
stars.
could talk to you guys on some stuff that
sure.
would help you guys out there. But if you need anything from our side at NCG, we're obviously willing to help you guys out. We love seeing you guys there. If there's something that we could help you out, maybe you guys setting up and doing some type of podcast show before the show starts. Maybe an interview with a few of the boys or girls in the back. That's fine. It's to get your guys' name out there as well as our name out there. And then, we'll see where it goes. But, we're willing to help out in the community, no doubt about it. And that's one thing I've always said when you have a wrestling organization, being out in the community. Like, I know, it was Zico and Bobby Clancy, I think Prairie, they were at the Humane Society.
Yeah.
Yes, and
21st, they're going to be there in
21st of June, they'll be
Leamington.
back.
Right, so you never know. I may show up that day too as well. So at the end of the day, we want to be out in the community, right? Because without the community, we're not going to have wrestling fans, right? So getting our name out there is huge, and doing stuff that's positive out there is even better, right? So, but no, I appreciate you guys having me on the show. I apologize not being on the show earlier. But you finally got me,
Yes.
and I'm sure you won't see the last of me because
Not at all.
after today, I'm going to raise your careers up
Oh, thank
in the
you.
podcast
See
world.
that? You're going to get the Mike Legacy rub, is what they call that.
Yes, that's what it will happen. You guys will be starting to set
I
the
don't like being
standards.
touched.
You're welcome.
You'll be starting to get the standards here at the show here.
That's it. Higher standards. There you go.
But I appreciate you guys. And like I said, we'll see you at the shows, whether you can make it on June 28th or not. You'll see.
I'll be there.
Well, you can
June
live
28th,
stream it.
I'll be there.
Yeah, you'll be there, right? So
21st, I'll be there at the main society.
Yeah.
So
He wasn't even invited, so that's okay.
I don't have to be invited.
He'll
I just show up.
He'll just be there.
Okay, what are you gonna get a dog that day or a cat?
I have 2 dogs.
Yeah, he has
I
2
just go to help because you know what? There's nothing better than the love of an animal, and there's nothing better than to see one of them get to go home to their forever home. That's what they need. And NCG putting that out there is just unbelievable.
Yeah,
It is.
I mean, and if you guys, is this a weekly podcast? Okay, I mean,
Sunday.
if you guys need help with guests, you let me know. I can make things happen.
All right.
Again, I got my position for NCG. We could make things happen here. So.
Definitely.
But definitely, it was another day on a podcast of setting the standards, and you guys hopefully will do well after this podcast.
Take us out of here, Jay.
That's it. We'll see how.
No, we do want to thank you, though. It's been great having you here.
Definitely.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see your elevation in NCG as well, to see where your character goes. And
See you share the knowledge that
we've
acquired.
done a lot of is the predictions, and I'm pretty sure that Legacy needs its own stable. That's what I'm going to say. You've got the Chaos Clan for Clancy.
Yeah.
You've got the new New York Louie coming through.
Oh, that
So
was,
I think we
That was a
need.
surprise.
well,
I had a good one.
You know what? At the end of the day, I watched it, and I'm like, good for Louis. First thing that came to my mind is who he reminded me of. I got visions of a Bobby Heenan
Ah, yes.
and another vision of a local manager in Detroit called Johnny Bradford.
Okay.
And I don't know if you ever know who he is, but he is the guy that carried the tennis racket around.
Yes.
So I that's who he reminded me of. And no, he did a great job there. So
Okay. If people are looking for you online, if you want to be found, where can people find you?
yeah, I mean, look, I'm not much of a Twitter or whatever. I'm a Facebook. I've always had that since day one with the wrestling and all that stuff. Just Mike Legacy.
Okay.
They can direct message me if they have any ideas that they want to have for whether it be NCG or even any questions on wrestling. I could help them out that way.
Excellent.
But just on Facebook, that's pretty much it. I mean, or get a hold of NCG Wrestling, they know how to get a hold of me.
Okay.
At the end of the day, there's a lot of knowledge over the years I have. I could talk to you guys for the next hours and hours at end there. And there's a lot of stories I can't say because it's
Sure.
just like some of the stuff that happened, it's like I just shake my head like I'm surprised I'm alive today,
Right.
And
Those are the stories that we want next time.
yes.
next time, because we got one from Clancy, we got one from Pat Ryan,
Yeah.
and I said, "Oh, we're gonna have to start a new segment called."
Did you know Pat Ryan's first match was he teamed up with me and we worked against the Insane Clown Posse?
I did not.
Oh, he
know
didn't
that.
tell you what his first
Really?
match was?
No.
No? Oh, yeah. We're in Highland Park, Michigan, whereas me and Pat Ryan against the Insane Clown Posse and this guy named The Bug. And we worked those two, and it was a Violent J from Insane Clown Posse and whoever the other guy is against, yeah. So that was his first match. Yeah.
Really? See, I had no idea, but I do think it's kind of cool how you came full circle, where you started at the LaSalle Arena as security,
Yeah.
and then you get to have your first match there. That's a big deal.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So
And the building's not even there anymore. So
no,
look
it's
at
not.
that.
It's definitely not. No. So.
Shut it down. Do you have any plugs? Anything you want to talk about before?
Well, I will see you on
Alright.
NCG June 28th.
Yeah.
Are you going to be on the
28th.
bus? Are you taking the bus there?
No.
No?
If I'm at the bus, I'll be driving the bus.
You'll be driving the bus. Okay.
But I'll be riding the
Throwing people under
bike
the bus.
on
I was
in.
gonna say,
What does
right.
that do?
I'll ride the motorbike on in.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go. I gotta see Al Snow. I gotta see Zico. Gotta see Giant Orion, Soul Taker. Gotta spend some time with them.
Okay.
But on June the 21st, Leamington at the Main Society,
Yes.
we'll be there helping all the animals in there. Get them some forever homes. Get some people their fur babies.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. Well, with that, we are going to get out of here. Anything else before we go?
No, just this year coming, it's going to be bigger, badder than ever. It will be unbelievable. Standards will be set in NCG this year.
Yep.
Literally, standards will be set. So you haven't seen the last of me. But no, we're going to have some fun this year. And it's going to be an amazing year we're going to have. And like I said, we can help you guys out whatever way we can. We definitely will do that there.
Right.
But I guess we'll see everyone on June 28th in Leamington.
Yes,
Whether you're taking the bus there or just showing up, we will see you there. Al Snow, and then August we're back in LaSalle, so that'll be a big event too.
Special guest Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle will be there. Yes.
Like I said, you guys are just bringing everybody in, and it's great to see, and it's great to see the growth and to be, in a way, to be a part of it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So, well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Hey.
all
Thanks for your time.
All right.
We're going to get out of here. So with that, be sure to check us out on our social media. We are the Wrestling Roundup on Facebook and Wrestling_Roundup on Instagram. You can follow us on the Border City Radio app, which is available in the App Store, as well as the Google Play Store. And thanks for joining for the Wrestling Roundup. And we hope you enjoyed diving into the world of suplexes and smackdowns with us today. So, for the man who raises the standards...
No. The man who sets the
Oh,
standards.
excuse me. For the man
Get that
who-
right, Jay Brown. Okay.
For the man who
Jay
sets
Brown,
the
that is our new name for you.
100%.
for the man who sets the standards.
You, Jay Brony.
Mike Legacy.
Right.
I'm Jay. He's Dan, and we'll see you when we look at you.
Jobber.